Am I the idiot for telling my mom if she wants to plan a wedding to get remarried? I, female 32, recently started planning my wedding with my fiancé, female 31, and my mom immediately jumped to help us plan. I thought at first it'd be okay, but she will call vendors and vendors she likes. We'll give them my information, so they call me about a scheduled time and my mom swoops in to say, "It'd be rude not to go since they invited you." It was obvious it was her after the third time when she wouldn't stop giggling and admitted to calling beforehand and making appointments. I wouldn't take issue with this, but my mom and I have wildly different tastes. Every time me or my fiancé tell her something like how to have this color for the tablecloths or these flowers, she'll tell us that they look bad and will give us her own plan. She recently showed us a massive binder of different ideas she wants us to look through. It's exhausting. At every step she will insist on looking at her ideas, and when we reject them she'll throw a fit and tell me I don't love her because I ignore all her wishes. I also want to add, I think she's had it in her head since I was a kid she'd plan my wedding. Even before I came out and dated men, she'd comment on how excited she was for the wedding. And when I told her my fiancé proposed, she immediately started berating me about when we'd have the wedding so she could help us plan it. Part of it is that when she married my dad it was a small courthouse affair because she was pregnant with me at the time, and never got a proper wedding. My dad also died 17 years ago, and she dates sporadically but never for longer than a few months. The last time me and my fiancé went to see a venue she tagged along and made all these comments on how gross everything was, pointing out all the tiny things wrong with it all. The person showing us was getting annoyed, my fiancé was getting annoyed, and so was I. She eventually said, "If this were my wedding I'd never even consider this dump," despite it being absolutely beautiful and within the budget. I snapped and told her that if she wanted to plan a wedding so badly she should get remarried. It was cruel, but I was so tired of her trying to have her perfect wedding through me. My fiancé thinks I'm not at fault, but the rest of my family doesn't. Am I the idiot? Edit. Adding answers to a couple common questions. Is she paying for the wedding? No, she's not paying a penny. Why don't you set boundaries with her? We have. She doesn't listen and will cry and guilt me and my fiancé until we go along with her or look at what she's picked out for us now. For a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. Cut that off. Tell her she is not welcome to come to any viewings. She is allowed to send you one email per week with her suggestions, but that is it. And that if she calls and makes appointments for you anywhere else she is no longer invited to the wedding. For the rest of the family who are taking her side, tell them she is being unreasonable and they are welcome to get her help planning a party of their own. Comment 2. Not the idiot. But going forward, set some boundaries for your mom on what kind of help she can provide, and if she oversteps again, then that's when she needs to just be a guest. I had a friend get married a few years ago and her mom was like this. She ended up going with a venue that took care of everything: ceremony, caterers, DJ, bartenders, photographer, etc., so that her mom couldn't take everything over. Now for the update. Hello everyone, I took all of the advice to heart, and me and my fiancé had a sit down and looked at the comments together, and we agreed we both need to grow spines. Our wedding planner is truly a saint and had no problem setting up passwords with vendors like some people suggested, and it was a great suggestion, so thank you. We then invited my mom to dinner and told her that she has to stop trying to help us with the wedding. It started off bad as she brought her binder and had her own wedding dress in her car. Her dress is in very bad condition, would not fit either me or my fiancé, and is quite frankly hideous. I would never say that to her face, though I've told her every time she's asked that I want to pick out my own dress and she should keep hers for if she wants to get remarried. She assumed that we had invited her to apologize and let her plan the wedding however she wanted. How she jumped to that conclusion I have no idea. We lied about not wanting her to get overly stressed in the hope she'd take it better than telling her that she's been causing problems and that she hasn't been helpful. She didn't take it well and started crying and saying all she ever wanted was for me to have the perfect wedding, and she'd already given up getting the perfect son-in-law and grandchildren, so at the least we could let her plan the wedding. It stunned us both as she has never said a bad word about me liking women, not when I came out, not when I got my first girlfriend, not when me and my fiancé got engaged. That put me over the edge, and I told her that she wasn't going to plan anything, she was a guest and nothing more, and I would be cutting her speech if she was going to behave like a child. She had a full-on tantrum, so me and my fiancé paid and left her to cry and scream in the restaurant. That was all fine and dandy until our florist called to tell us my mom had called to try and get the flower arrangements changed behind our back. I called her, and she tried to lie until she realized she was backed into a corner, and admitted to doing it because she knew what was best and was trying to help. Needless to say that I've now uninvited her from the wedding with the full support of my fiancé, and my soon-to-be mother-in-law and father-in-law. Comment 1. I have to echo the comment about having security at the wedding. This sounds like a potential gate crasher if ever there was one. If it helps at all, I think you and your fiancé handled this like true pros. You reached out, got advice, and put it into effect in a fair, reasonable way. Your mom's reaction is not your fault. I physically cringed at that. I gave up the perfect son-in-law and grandchildren thing, and you handled that perfectly too. If she wants to make vile, hateful comments and whip up a circus in public, which is a pressure tactic people use when desperate to force their will on someone, the right thing to do is simply refuse to participate in her games. Thumbs up. Comment 2. Holy cow! She had to give up the perfect daughter-in-law and grandchildren? How the hell does she give up something that never existed or could ever belong to her? She's beyond the pale. Great that you uninvited her. Congratulations on your engagement. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for not taking care of my cousin's toddler? I, female 20, went upstate to visit my extended family recently. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, this includes my cousin, who had a baby about 3.5 years ago. My cousin will be named Carol and the baby will be named Lily for this post. I don't like children, never have, and possibly never will. My whole family knows this. So, I haven't really spent the most time with Lily when I visited. Surprisingly, she wasn't too bad the last few times I visited her and Carol along with my other family. However, this time Lily was an absolute hellspawn, screaming, crying, throwing tantrums along with things across the room. We were staying in the same house, so I heard it every day for a few days. I distanced myself from Carol and Lily as much as possible, other than the time I got mad at Carol, and a bit at Lily, when Lily was throwing a tantrum about something and threw my phone to the floor, cracking the corner of the screen. Carol said I was overreacting. Yesterday, I was watching television in the living room when Carol came into the room carrying Lily, who was fussing. She asked me to watch her for the day because she needed a break, but I wasn't so sure. As I said, I don't like kids in the first place, but I'm also not sure I could take care of one, especially one as bad as Lily. I explained this to Carol and she insisted I take care of Lily. I asked if anybody else can take Lily because I won't, and she told me everyone else was out shopping, and how I don't know how hard it is to be a mother, and the least I can do is help out. I told her I understand how she's struggling but reinstated my doubts on taking care of another human being. Carol called me heartless and stormed out of the room to go and take care of Lily herself. A little over 15 minutes later, everyone returned. Carol, of course, told them what I did and everyone was being cold to me for the rest of the day. This morning, I left because I was getting uncomfortable with how I was being treated and felt like I wasn't welcome because I wouldn't take care of Lily. This was met with sad or angry comments from some, but I left anyway. I'm writing this in a hotel because now I'm having second thoughts. Was I the AH for not taking care of Lily? Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. Frankly, it's irresponsible of a parent to shove an unwitting person into that situation, especially if your aversion to kids is known throughout the family. One would assume you probably wouldn't have had a lot of experience with babies or toddlers and wouldn't really know how to care for one. It's like Carol thought. Who is the most ill-equipped person to care for my wound nugget? OP, yes, she'll do. My only babysitting requirements are a set of breasts, and a liability waiting to happen. Comment 2, not the idiot. There's probably a good reason the rest of the family bailed on Carol to go shopping. They didn't want to watch Lily either, or even have Lily join them, so they're deflecting the blame on you. Now for the update. Hi all. Thank you for your kind words. About a day after I got home, Carol sent me a text saying she apologizes for how she acted. She told me in the text how she's been feeling bad about the situation since I left. She acted out of bounds, was stressed but shouldn't have taken it out on me, and sorry she exaggerated the story to our family members. She finally asked if I would come back up north to come chat with her about it, along with the rest of the family. I declined because I had work and couldn't make the round trip, so we talked on the phone. She kept profusely apologizing for how she acted, and was trying to make amends. I was honestly shocked, but grateful. We made arrangements for a few months from now to meet up in person. On the more negative side, I haven't heard from the rest of the family as I'm writing this. I'm not sure if they're still mad, just ignoring me, or some other reason. I think it might be the latter as I asked Carol about it, and she's not even sure. Whatever it is, I hope they talk to me soon. Again, thank you. Comment 1. I don't understand the need to drive 3 hours for them to apologize. FaceTime works just as well. I'm so tired of the moms who use the "I need a break from my kids" as an excuse for someone else to watch them. These are usually the kids who aren't parented well and aren't used to a routine. There's no reason to subject someone else to another parent's failings. It's a big red flag and big fat no for me. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for telling my parents I am willing to sell them my forgiveness? My parents expected me to be independent the minute I turned 18. They gave me the money they had saved up for my education and they started charging me rent. I was lucky enough to have a partial scholarship and I found a job in the city my university was in, so I moved there before the school year began. With my parents' money, my scholarship, and my wages I was able to scrape by. I rarely if ever spoke with my parents. I was kinda busy. I guess they decided that they didn't want that kind of relationship with my younger siblings because they were not presented with the same option. They both lived at home all through university, and even afterwards. I am 34 now with a decent job and a great girlfriend whom I will be marrying this summer. I sent my parents and siblings an invitation. They called me to ask why they were not involved in the wedding. I responded that they hadn't really been part of my life in 16 years and that I was being nice by inviting them. They said that they acknowledged that they made mistakes when I was young and that it was in the past, and that I should get over it. Against my fiancé's advice, I sent them an itemized bill for everything I paid for myself that they freely gave my brother and sister. I said if they wanted to be a part of my life they had to ante up. They said that they cannot afford that because they are in debt still from helping my siblings out. I laughed at that and said I hoped that I would see them at the wedding and hung up. My family are all getting a hold of me to let me know how much I'm hurting my parents. The thing is that I don't want their money. And I don't want anything from them at all other than their attendance at my wedding. If they can't do that, then I'm fine with our yearly phone call. Am I the idiot? There's no updates, so here's the comments. Not the idiot. Maybe the itemized bill was a bit much, but I imagine it was cathartic for you. Your parents haven't been around in a decade and a half. They have a lot of nerve to ask to be involved. Not being involved in your wedding is just reaping what they sowed. Congratulations on your upcoming wedding. Comment 2. The crux of the matter is the unfairness of treatment between OP and his siblings. It's not really the money. Presenting the bill was really giving the parents a big old serving of humble pie. Clearly OP doesn't really expect or hope that his parents would make financial amends. Congratulations on your upcoming wedding, OP, not the idiot.